welcome to Seth's Daily Podcast. Without you guys, this wouldn't be possible. I want to thank you guys for subscribing. Of course, Tracy is back co-hosting, and In Our Places just put a video out on YouTube yesterday. They had a podcast out Wednesday, I believe, on
Yep.
Spotify.
Yep.
How are you doing tonight, though, man?
I'm doing good, man. I'm excited. Do a little different Bigfoot talking tonight.
Yeah. And we are blessed enough to have Indiana Bigfoot researcher David Mills. How are you doing tonight, sir?
I'm doing fantastic.
Now, you don't just do Bigfoot expeditions. You do ghost hunting. You do UFO hunts, right?
Oh yeah. We get in a little bit of everything. Keeps it interesting, and you never know what you're going to find that's going to correlate with the other topic.
That's a good point. When you guys do most of your research, and it doesn't matter, what it is, Bigfoot or paranormal stuff, do you primarily do it where you're at in Indiana?
No, we travel all over. Honestly, I've been as far as I've been all the way to Maine and had weird things happen there.
Oh wow!
Tennessee, Kentucky. Spent a lot of time in Eastern Kentucky, where you guys are at, or at least
he's in Ohio.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
But yeah, Eastern Kentucky. My whole family's from Manchester, Hazard area,
Somerset. Oh, dude, that's right next to me, man.
Yeah, that's Seth's backyard there.
Yeah, man.
I used to live when I was a kid up in a little holler called Goose Creek up in there, a little shack and
Perry County.
No, outside of Manchester.
Oh, I haven't been to Manchester.
Going towards Redbird, if you know where that's at.
Yeah, I know where it's at. I've gone through that way before, like to go to Lexington, like when the road was like shut down in Hazard. In Jackson one time, my bad. But yeah, man. Tell us a little bit about what you found on your expeditions.
We go out, like I said, like we talked before, we don't really get into falling too much into this tree structure type deal. I mean, we'll actually sit and look at it, before we even walk up on it, we'll look for footprints in the dirt and stuff. Most people just run right up on them. By then, you've done destroyed anything that might be there. We try not to put out anything that is a maybe. We've seen rock structures many times out in the middle of nowhere, kayaking down the rivers. And we've seen lots of tree structures as well. But footprints, things like that, we've seen a lot of maybes, but unless it's something where I can see toes and a whole footprint, it's too much of a maybe, and I just don't want to put that kind of thing out there.
That's true. And because a lot of maybes turn into probably nots. And that can destroy your credibility if you're constantly putting out, well, this could be, or this could be, or this could be. And the internet is flooded with this could have beens. But like we were talking before, that there's things that are definite now. And when I say definite, they're not definitely Bigfoot, but they're definitely strange and odd that are out of place. And we were talking about when you see like a 15 or 16 foot foot tree trunk that has been shoved in the ground, 4 or 5 inches, and there's no root system. It's like it was placed there on purpose. Now, I don't know if it's because that's a barrier of, territory, or if that's a direction something needs to go. But I just know it's odd. It's not supposed to be there, and it's not all deadfall. You don't normally have, a tree trunk that's 8 or 9 inches around fall that far and shoved into the ground and leaning on another tree or something. To me, that's odd. Now, with some of these tree structures, like you said, when you see these things that are bent in different ways and they look almost, they say like a nest.
Right.
I mean, I don't know, but when I do see something that's 8 or 9 feet up in the air and it has been twisted and broke off, or broke down, then I got a question. What is twisting that at one and then breaking it over? I don't think it's all snowfall. I don't think it's all deadfall.
No, I can't believe it's all deadfall. But look, you get kids out in the woods, you get hunters, they'll go out there and make natural blinds, because a lot of state forest stuff won't allow you put a good solid tree stand up. A climber's great, but as far as putting stakes in a tree or anything. So I think a lot of contributed, a lot of those little small huts. I'm thinking, you see those small shelters that some people claim to be maybe Bigfoot shelters. Um, you're talking about what everybody describes as an 8 to 1,000 pound animal, 10 feet tall. It's never possibly going to fit into this structure. So that's my big issue with the small stuff like that. Now, if this thing was 12 foot in diameter and 8 feet wide or something, yeah, I might lean a little more towards that.
Right. And yeah, I've seen a couple structures that were, supposed structures that were, 5 feet off the ground. And I'm thinking I can barely fit in there, and I'm 5'7",
Right.
But I agree with you on that. But there is, compelling evidence out there that these things exist. And I've said it 100 times. I know people are probably sick of me hearing it or hear me saying it. People are seeing something out there, and I don't think they're all fake, and I don't think they're all bears. I mean, people are seeing something. Now, what are they seeing? Is it an unknown North American ape? I don't know. But people are seeing something. There's too much video out there for all this to be fake.
Right.
And we go back to the Patterson video when they break that down, and you actually see muscles move under the fur, and it, especially Patty having the breast and the female,
Yeah.
other things, and just the natural, they even break it down into the way that the knee flexes in and back out as they step. And I mean, that can't be faked.
Right. And something else to that, Mr. Bob Gimlin, that guy has taken a beating over that video over the years. And for him to stay as true as he has to believe in what he saw, that gives authenticity right there to me. I mean, that kind of quality of a picture of this thing, been enhanced, see muscles moving under the skin. Hollywood said they can't even produce it. So, it had to have been something. I mean, I totally fully believe Bob Gimlin in what he saw.
I do too. And just for the fact, because that he has stayed so true. I mean, look how many years ago that was. What was it?
68, I believe, was
Yeah, 68, I believe.
Yep.
All those years, man. And he hasn't changed his story, not one bit.
Yep.
And I bet he has wished 1,000 times that Roger Patterson didn't die, when he did, so he could, shoulder some of this burden.
Absolutely.
But
What year did he die?
72, I think, or 71, early 70s.
Yeah.
It wasn't, very long after that video, I don't think.
That's weird. That video is absolutely the best evidence for Bigfoot being real. But I mean, we've had Don Neal, and he showed us some phenomenal footprints and pictures and stuff. But I'm gonna ask, did I ask you this already, Tracy? I'm gonna ask both of you this. I don't remember if I've asked you on that one episode or not. Do you think there's a connection between UFOs and Bigfoot?
You did ask Don that. I don't get that feeling, but I mean, I'm nobody, but just myself. And that's like when people say they feel that if they would come across a Bigfoot, it may be demonic. And I don't get that. I think it may be a wild creature. And, when you come across a creature that's 8, 9 feet, 10 feet tall, and it weighs 1,000 pounds, it's going to make you feel uneasy inside knowing that that's a wild creature. To me, that would be like walking up on a grizzly bear, because you can't predict what that thing's going to do. Is it going to run away from you, or is it going to eat you alive? So to that effect, as far as the UFO Bigfoot connection, I personally don't think so.
Well, I mean, anything you think about Bigfoot, any theory could be right. It's really hard to dismiss some of the odd stuff that goes along with the Bigfoot. You see the light orbs, people shot them, hit them with cars, and see a flashlight and they're just gone. So who knows? I mean, yeah, it may be a flesh and blood creature, but who's to say it's from this planet? They've been painted in caves throughout history. They go back so far that they've been here for a very long time. How'd they get here? And there's no fossil record of any kind to prove they were here before or how they got here.
And the Native Americans have been talking about it since, I mean, we don't know how long. I mean, but you're right. They've been there's paintings in caves, depicting these big hairy creatures from Native Americans, and it goes back into, ever since they were doing cave paintings, So I can't believe that they're all fake and they're all misidentified. I can't believe that.
No, not at all. And another thing with Bigfoot, the Bigfoot phenomenon, you got so many people that want to believe that, they can go up and feed these things or try to build a relationship with them. Hasn't been done this long. I doubt it's going to happen. Unless somebody can prove they're sitting at their dining room table, I'm going to find that one hard to believe. And there have been some accounts where some people have said they've taken care of young Bigfoot, until they got older and stuff. I don't know. I mean, it's hard to believe, but you gotta weigh everything out, because you never know what might tie to what in this situation. And as far as UFOs, I mean, there have been people that say they've seen Bigfoot walk out of a UFO. I don't know. I wasn't there. But like I said, everybody has their own theories, and they can actually make a very good argument for their theory. Bottom line, nobody knows until till somebody finds one, or finds a skeleton, or even if somebody kills one. I hate to say it, that right there will make you a lot of enemies in this world.
Yeah, it will.
But I can honestly tell you, I don't go in the woods not armed.
Well, no, and I wouldn't either. Just for the fact that, not that, if I run across one of these things, and my intention is to kill it.
Right.
But my intention is to be able to walk out of them woods if I do see it.
Be able to defend myself.
Exactly. But you were talking about, people trying to make friends with these things. And I don't know how true this story is. This is just something that I heard through a friend type thing. But it happened in Eastern Kentucky, where she was an older lady. She lived on this little piece of property by herself, and she kept talking about these hairy people that she was seeing. And she would throw her leftovers she'd walk out to the edge of the woods and throw pancakes and apples and, waffles and things like that. And she would come back the next day to put more out, and there would be, all that would be gone, and a feather would be laying there. Now, could it be a bird just dropped a feather? Absolutely. But where it gets weird is when she said the one time she went back to do it, and there was a marble laying there. And, just in these little gifting things. Now, is that story true? I don't know.
Right.
Could that have been, a Sasquatch gifting things back? I don't know. I just find it strange. The bird feathers, like, okay, well, it's a bird feather and you're out in the woods. Of course you're going to see feathers. There's birds out there. But when they said she found a marble laying on this log where she was laying these pancakes out, I find that kind of funny.
Yeah, I've definitely heard many accounts of that, people gifting with Bigfoot. I'm not saying it's not possible. They might be just like humans. You never know what mood they're going to be in, or what kind of temperament they have. We have serial killers. Maybe
right.
They have something similar, they're so human-like a lot of times. But, you get so many different descriptions of them, ape-like, caveman-like, it makes you almost believe there's got to be multiple different types, and a lot of people do believe that. But yeah, I mean, I think it's going to depend on a lot on how comfortable it is with the people that are there, if that's happening.
And you're right. I think the personalities are just like anything else. You may come up on a bear.
Ain't that what Earl was saying? That's what Earl was saying. He said that there's like good,
right,
and then demonic.
Well, I mean, like, you may come up on a bear and it may be very docile and run away from you. But then again, the next bear you run up on may be very aggressive towards you, and I don't think that would be any different with any other wild animal. And I mean, you have to classify these things as wild animals, because there's no other class to put them in, really.
Right.
But the tree knocks and things, yeah, okay, I'll give you this. It's kind of weird, if you hit a tree and in a few minutes you hear one, a half a mile away hitting this, doing, say, you got to go, well, what in the world's doing that at 2:00 in the morning? It could be other people, but I don't know. And then I've heard of rock clapping.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you have reports of that, but there's no better report than an actual eyewitness report of somebody actually seeing these things. And they're so well at staying hid that, you know, there's several reports of people being, you know, 15, 20 feet away from these things and not knowing that they're even there until they move. And I just can't imagine what it would be like to just be walking through the woods, because I spend a lot of time in the woods. I do a lot of hunting and fishing and stuff. And then all of a sudden this 1,000-pound creature that's 9 foot tall start walking right beside me at 25 feet. I would probably just pee.
I would
You know
poop
what
my
I mean?
pants. I wouldn't pay. I would poop my pants. Speaking of that, have you ever seen Bigfoot?
I have never seen Bigfoot, but I am 100% believer it is there. And that's why I'm out here as much as I am, traveling all over. Spend a lot of time in Land Between Lakes. My family actually lives in Clarksville, Tennessee, so we go down there quite a bit. So I have heard some strange things at their property. But no, I haven't personally ever seen one, but I 100% know they're there. I'm just waiting for my time to see it.
Well, and with that, when you come up on a set of footprints, I don't mean you personally, but I just say when somebody comes up on a set of footprints, say a deer hunter's out walking, you know, and he comes up on these prints, who would just go out there and make prints in the hopes that somebody's going to find them? You know, it would be different if it was on a major trail or this and that. But I mean, we're talking guys that are way out in these backwoods in the middle of nowhere, and then they come across this set of prints, and that's not natural for, you know, us to go out there and say, hey, let's go out there and make footprints, and hopefully somebody will see it.
Right. Doesn't make any sense at all.
Not at all.
Not at all. Yeah, I mean, in the beginning, I'm sure there was a lot of hoaxes.
Sure.
And, you know, everybody's gotten wise to that now. The big trouble with everything now, trying to find a good place to really do some good investigating. The Bigfoot field is blown up so big. All the state forests are full of people. And yeah, if somebody's knocking here, there's another group, you know, a couple ridges over doing the same thing. So we're constantly looking for a nice private place to do some actual real investigation and try to really get a feel for what these things could be.
Yeah. Do you guys use like the high tech stuff, like the FLIR and that type of stuff?
Yes, we have FLIR, we have a drone, we have night vision, of course. We even bring K2 meters, which are electromagnetic field detectors,
Yeah.
Voice detectors. We bring all sorts of things like that in our arsenal. Night vision, everything. We put out trail cams. We can run 12 night vision cameras for 18 hours.
Oh, wow.
We have a lot of capabilities.
Yeah. Well, so the reason why I bring that up is, you know, our buddy Don, he uses FLIR quite a bit. And you know, he says that a lot of times when you see a heat signature out there, you can tell, okay, it's a cow or it's a bear. He said, but he come across this one, it was just a big red heat blob. And the more he watched it, the more it moved kind of strange. And then it stood up and walked away.
Oh, wow.
So I was just wondering if you guys have ever had anything like that happen.
No, I can't say I have, but I've picked up a couple of new tricks lately to maybe get a little better opportunity to make that happen. Was watching the new what is it? The new Bigfoot show that's on, the big series, been on a couple of years now. Expedition Bigfoot, where they're mounting the FLIR to a stick as a walking stick, but pointing the FLIR behind them. I think that's a pretty good strategy, and we're definitely going to try that.
Oh yeah, because if you think about that, I never even dreamed of that. A lot of these wild animals, the first defense is to hold completely still until what they perceive as a threat has walked away, and then they'll move. Right. So that's really a good strategy. It never even crossed my mind, really.
And another thing we're going to try, I heard another researcher doing this, and we're going to give it a little try also. He sets up a remote tent somewhere and puts a voice recorder inside. We're going to try that with some modified trail cams that don't have IR. That's actually going to have a flash bulb. We're in process trying to modify those now to be able to set a regular flash bulb instead of IR, because I totally believe they see IR.
Exactly. I think that's why you only get blips of them on trail cams. And I think that's why we don't have more pictures on trail cams, because I honestly believe that they see IR as well.
Yeah, I honestly believe that. I think they may even be able to hear the electronics firing up and that to take a picture. Their hearing could be possibly that sensitive.
What do you think
And
about the howls though? The people do. Do you think it's ridiculous? Some of them howls are. I don't know. Because if you hear some of them on TV, they sound like howls. To be honest, the people that do.
well, I can tell you, yeah, there's some people that may have gotten some things back from Howls, but everything that I can gather, most of the encounters have happened when people are just walking through the woods on a trail, or just literally just sitting by a campfire or in their tent. It's always after they go to bed, these things come up around the camp and start messing around. I don't hear about too many researchers going out there beating on trees and walking 500 feet and seeing a Bigfoot. I have real concerns about that. If they are really tree knocking, which I believe that's one of the major characteristics of these things, I believe what it means to them and what it means to us could be way two different things. I've heard ideas of behind them driving deer and wildlife with the tree knocks, moving them to a funnel point, slowly driving just like we would if we went hunting. So who knows what the tree knocks mean, but I'd be real cautious about some things I do out there like that. Like I said, nobody's seeing it after they do it. That's my thing.
I don't think I would want to see Bigfoot though, man. To be honest with you, because if you look at Patty, she is humongous, man. And there's no way that a female could fit into a suit and be that tall. That's obviously realistic. I mean, you can go in detail about why you think that video is real, by the way.
Oh yeah. The muscle movement after they enhanced that video to what they've done today, they basically almost made it high definition compared to what it was then. It's almost 4K compared to what it was then. So you can definitely see the muscle structure moving, just the fluid emotion in the legs and the way the legs move. They don't really move like a human legs, and the way she bends and turns her whole body to look at you, like her neck doesn't move too good because those big giant muscles around her neck. So that's some big things that that and even seeing the breast swinging. I mean, come on. I mean, that's not a Hollywood costume.
No, I agree.
Have you also seen like fake videos that you can tell like in 1 second is absolutely fake?
Oh, 100%. YouTube's full of them.
It's the hotbed.
It definitely is. Yes. I mean, some of the stuff people and all they're doing with all this stuff is really muddying the waters. And I feel it's putting some division in the whole field too. Actually, just putting division and muddy in the waters for what really should happen. I would love to see the day if everybody came together, brought all their evidence together in one spot, had a major event to reveal every single piece of evidence everybody has throughout the U.S. I don't think anybody could walk away from a show like that believing that there's not a Bigfoot out there.
That'd be a big money maker. I'm surprised they did it already.
Problem is, a lot of people are too egotistical and they don't want to give up what they got. They're saving it for what reason? I don't know. Why are you saving it? Put that stuff out there.
That's a big thing. Bigfoot researchers do not get along for the most part. I mean, and Don Neal said it best. He said, nobody's an expert in this field. Nobody. Everybody's a novice. Because if you think about it, you really don't even know what you're looking for. But, if they have these so-called experts on Discovery channels and History channels, Animal Planets, and all these other things. But all they are just high-paid novice.
Right.
But you're right. You have these guys that, I mean, they're knocked down, drag out, just dead set against most of each other, and they don't want to help each other. And that's a lot of the division, that you can't come together and prove this thing if you're constantly fighting one another, because one will put something out and will say, well, that's fake. Well, the other guy will, no, man, I was there. I saw it. Well, no, that's not real. And it's just that big clash of division. It's
right. Yeah. I think one of the really big divisions is the kill and no kill. Yeah. I think there's a lot of good evidence with the kill groups that don't put it out there because they don't want to be known as kill groups.
Right.
That way they can still gather information, because once they get known as a kill group, nobody's going to give them any more information, and nobody's going to share with them. So they got to be really careful about that. So I really suspect they got a lot better evidence than most of the non-kill groups have in their library.
Right. And there's that fear. I mean, if you kill this thing, there's really no set of guidelines or rules or laws that you can go by that says you're not going to get in trouble, or this is okay. Either way,
Right.
either play of the field. I mean, you don't know how that's going to work out. You may end up in prison the rest of your life, and you may become a hero or a villain the rest of your life. You don't know.
Because it might be human. It might. I mean, the way people were thinking that, like, wasn't there a state? Was it Utah or something that had a bounty for Bigfoot? You get paid like $1 million or something.
Oklahoma released a hunting license for Bigfoot.
That's right.
And then they changed it because it was catching such a bad rap for being a hunting license for Bigfoot. Now you get something for actually capturing a Bigfoot, which I don't think that's ever going to happen.
We can't hardly get this thing even on picture, let alone, actually trap one.
Right. No kidding.
We can't get this thing on video, man. But I know Tracy doesn't like talking about this too much, but hopefully you don't mind talking about Tracy. I don't like talking about it too much either, because I used to do it as well. You guys want to tell us one of the creepiest moments both of you have had ghost hunting?
I can tell you a creepy one that I had when I wasn't ghost hunting.
Oh, God.
I'm a plumber by trade, and we were a wealthy friend of mine here in Indianapolis. He bought an old historical home over in a very ritzy neighborhood, World War I era home. Had me go over and check out the plumbing and do some remodeling over there. So I was over there by myself, the house completely empty. I go down in the basement, and the house had all hardwood floors, had a garage door, and then you had a service door going into the home from the garage. Well, I'm down in the basement, and I hear that service door open and shut, and then boots walking across the floor. They go to the stairwell, and you hear them go up 3 steps to the landing and then continue on up the stairs. They get to the top of the stairs, and you hear another door open and shut. I said, well, there's nobody supposed to be here. So I ran upstairs, went through every room, attic. I went through everything. No one was there. I said, well, I can see what's going on here. So let my crew know that, hey, you might hear some stuff over there. Just be aware. Nothing to be worried about. It's just a residual haunting is what we call it. But so they're over there working. I pull up, and they say, yeah, we heard what you were talking about, and they were pretty freaked out about it. I said, it's nothing to worry about, honestly. If it was, I would tell you, because they knew I was into this kind of thing anyway. So we get to about a week later into this remodel, and me and one of my guys are sitting in the truck eating lunch, and we had the garage door open. Well, it was a nice cloudy day like we've had around here the last few days, and I looked over at the garage wall because a reflection caught my eye. And I thought it was something reflecting off the street or something, headlights or something, but it wasn't that dark. And I looked around, nothing was there. And I noticed that silver reflection started growing, and it turned into like an orb. And this thing grew to about the size of a beach ball.
Oh, wow.
And at that time, you see the garage door swings open, the ball goes inside, the door shuts. You see this ball go down the hallway through the glass in the door and turn and go up the stairs. That was pretty wild seeing that.
Oh, wow. I imagine so. Yeah. That's creepy, man. Through my ghost hunting experiences, I see, you see shadows out of the corner of your eye, and you look and they're not there, and that type thing. And you hear things, a door will close, or you'll hear little things. But the creepiest thing that ever really happened to me was we were in this old 1800s home here in Ashland, Kentucky, and we'd been doing some stuff. It was probably about 2 a.m, and I had to go to work the next day, so I was kind of wrapping my stuff up and was getting ready to leave, and everybody else we were up on the 3rd floor. Everybody else was on the complete opposite end of the house. And from the third floor, it has this grand staircase. I mean, it's a beautiful home. All hardwood. Just, I mean, you know how hardwood gets over time. You just make the slightest move and it creaks. And those old had this, this big wood banister. Just a beautiful home. And as I turn, I'm getting ready to walk down the steps, and I'm leaving because I have to go to work at like 4 the next morning. So I'm only gonna get like 2 hours sleep. And just as I turn to go down the steps, off to the right, there's a room, and I hear a very metallic sounding voice. And all it said was hello. And what shocked me more than anything is, like, when you're in a room with somebody, you hear in stereo because you have 2 ears. This thing was just in my right ear.
Oh, wow.
And that's all it said. It just said hello. And I froze dead in my tracks. I was getting ready to step off the first step, and and the room's pitch dark,
Here, yeah.
So, and I'm thinking to myself, do I want to turn and shine a light into this room for real? Do I really want to do this? And I do. And there's nothing there. There's not a thing. And it didn't scare me, but it was just like, what was that? Like, oh man, what was that? Did I really just hear that, or was that in my head? But then I got to think, it was just in my right ear. And that even added to the weirdness to it, because, if it would have been somebody, I would have heard it in both ears, just
right,
because of just being in that room. But yeah, that was probably one of the creepiest things, other than being touched. I was touched one time on my back, and there wasn't anybody there. So, but yeah, that was creepy.
I don't think I would want to be me ghost hunting. I've seen some creepy stuff. Been in the most haunted theater in Kentucky for free. They let our group ghost hunt there for free, man. Left us popcorn and everything. They treated us like kings, man. Do you know where the Cynthiana, Kentucky theater is in Cynthiana?
I know where Cynthiana's at.
I know where Cynthiana is. Yeah.
That theater out there, you need to ghost hunt it, man. If you're into ghost hunting. I'm not into it no more. Don't want to be into it.
No,
I don't want to do that no more. I'm good. Ghosts can stay away from me. I don't want to talk to you. I don't want to ghost hunt. I'm good. Now, and Bigfoot, the same thing. Bigfoot, I don't want to hunt you. I know you're real. It's fine. Just you can stay in the woods all you want to and live in peace. I'm not gonna bother Bigfoot.
I don't want to look out my window and all of a sudden see this big hairy face looking back at me. Yeah.
No, who would? I would shit my pants.
Well, I'm totally opposite, fellas. I would love to see one looking through the window at me.
I think I would be okay if I could see it from a distance. And I mean, when I say a distance, I mean, 100 yards.
Right.
Or so, but I don't want to see this thing 10 foot from me. No way.
Maybe 500 yards, 500 yards, 700 yards, something like that. I don't want to see Bigfoot, man. And I definitely do not want to see a ghost.
What have you heard the Sierra Sounds? Have you?
Oh, absolutely.
If that is what they say it is probably one of the most amazing pieces of audio out there.
Absolutely.
And to me, it sounds like a mad samurai.
Yeah, doesn't it?
Yeah, but it's incredible. But you can, and there's another audio a guy from Canada done who was very similar to the Sierra Sounds. But I can't imagine being out in the woods, just in a tent by myself at 2 a.m. and hearing this that close to me. That would be more scary to me than seeing a ghost.
Yeah, I'd be hugging my shotgun about that point.
You better believe it.
I tell you, yeah, that is really strange. If that's legit, which I kind of lean towards it is legit. Actually, I do believe it's legit. I mean, the guy's still around, still telling his story.
Yep.
He's well known, very credible guy.
Y'all probably hear my dog barking.
It sounds like a hound dog back there.
It is.
A blue tick or something, huh?
Yeah, she's a red bone.
There you go, my favorite.
The red bone.
But yeah, that that would prove, if that's legit, which like I said, I honestly believe it is, that would prove they would have some sort of language. You
Yes.
can hear a couple raccoons bickering back and forth.
Mhm.
You can obviously tell they're not really talking. They're just making noise at each other.
Right.
These things seem to be carrying on a conversation, and with the knocking going on in the background, and you're hearing them from different positions too, is what's
Yeah.
really cool. You got the real deep throated one that seemed to be the closest. And yeah, that's pretty wild. If you were out in the woods and heard that by yourself, I'd be a little weirded out.
And what makes that even more scary, like you said, there's more than one.
Yeah.
So, you've got these things, whatever they are could possibly be around you. Now, the ones that would scare me the most is the ones that I didn't heard or didn't hear, as those other ones were vocalizing. How many more are there that you didn't hear? But you're right. That guy, from what I understand of that story, these guys, these hunters up in Northern California, they had this little place that they hunted to, which was like an 8-hour ride on a horse to even get to. And they had built this cabin out there. And it was well known to these group of guys that hunted there that these things were there. They never bothered them, and they never bothered each other. But at night, he said in the story that I seen that he did, at night they always made sure that they were in the cabin and had their guns with them just in case. And he said the door that they made to the cabin was I'm going to say it's right. It was either 3 or 4 feet thick.
Wow.
Just because of their protection. He said they weren't never scared, but just in case. And they would record those sounds at night while they were in the cabin. So, I mean, the guy sounded legit. He's probably he's probably a lot older now, and he probably don't even go up there. In fact, I think the end of the story was the government of California, the rangers out there found this cabin and made them tear it down.
Oh, wow.
So they won't even let anybody know where it was at. But that's how the story I heard, that's how the Sierra Sounds come about. But that brings to another point, is Todd Standing.
Yep, Mr. Todd Standing.
All I can say is, if that is fake, the videos that he has, especially the night where he said they were basically coming at him, if that is fake, and all those pictures, up close pictures that he has, if those are fake, you done a very good job, Mr. Standing, is all I can say. I don't know that it is, but if it is, and to that account, if it's not, he has probably the best evidence ever.
I'd have to agree with that. Have you seen his show that was on Netflix by chance?
No, I did not.
I would check that out. His most compelling evidence I've seen out of everything he's got, the photos are great if they are legit. And I'm kind of leaning towards they are. Like I said, the guy has devoted so much time and energy to his project to try to get them protected in the state. I mean, who would go through that kind of trouble for something that's not there? But in his video, what's really compelling to me, he actually has one on night vision, looking away from him, standing by a tree. And why he's filming this one, walking up on it, a log comes from the side and basically takes him out. He hits the dirt, camera goes flying. He gets back up and it's gone. He goes back and actually stands beside this tree, and you could see it. It looked like a hairy giant something standing there, and him beside this tree. And I guess he's like 6'3".
He's a tall guy. Yeah.
Pretty big fella.
Yeah.
It made him look small. I mean, wait, where this thing was standing.
Well, and to his credibility, I mean, he had Les Stroud from Survivor Man come out and was doing a show with him, just different things of what he knew as a Bigfoot researcher. And I mean, I don't think that Les Stroud would have put his name on something if he thought it was fake. I don't think he was that kind of guy. And even he would, come out and say, I don't know what this is. I don't know why this tree is like this or why this particular is what it is. But I don't think that he would put his name on something that, one, he didn't think was real, or two, that he would try to fake it himself.
Right. Les Stroud spent so much time in the wilderness. He's probably seen so much that he can't explain.
He may be
Legend.
Bigfoot. He may be Bigfoot.
He's a
Right.
legend, though, man. What that
Yeah.
guy has done on Discovery and stuff is
Oh,
amazing.
yeah.
I mean, he's an absolute legend. I've tried to get him on the podcast actually, and I got left on. I don't even know if I got left on red. I got sent an auto message from him. But do you got anything upcoming? Like your group has like upcoming expeditions and stuff, and do you
Yeah,
have a
actually,
Facebook page?
Yeah, actually next weekend, we're leaving Saturday morning. We're headed down to Hoosier National. We're getting deep in the woods where nobody will be, and setting up camp way back in there and do a bunch of field research, field investigation out there, see if we can find any of these footprints and handprints.
Cool. One more thing. Right now, where you don't have to give particulars, but where's the hotbeds at around you? I mean, you don't have to give particular, maybe a county or whatever.
Sure.
Yeah.
I would have to say probably Monroe County is probably the biggest hotbed around here.
Okay.
What about
Okay.
Eastern Kentucky that you've been? I know you've said you've hunted here in Eastern Kentucky expeditions and stuff. Which is the hottest area here in Eastern Kentucky? Because that's where most of my viewers are from.
Well, I'm going to have to say probably Daniel Boone, south side of Daniel Boone National. There's so much that goes on in that area. I mean, everything from unknown animal attacks to, sightings all the time.
Yeah.
And then, you start going down there, it seems to follow like that eastern edge of Kentucky and Tennessee on down into Virginia and stuff. You get over towards Clinch Mountain in Tennessee, that's hot. Over towards Hamlin County,
Are you talking about
Cherokee
like
Lake.
Black Mountain and like Pine Mountain also? That's towards
Yes.
Virginia as well.
Yeah, that's two big ones. But Clinch Mountain is coming right out of if you're coming out of Corbin, you can hit Clinch Mountain and go across. I think it's 25 that goes across there through the big tunnel.
Yep, 25 I think.
Yeah. But yeah, over in there in Douglas, or not Douglas, but Cherokee Lake's right below Clinch Mountain. And it's been sighted all over there by fishermen at night, people that live on the mountain. That seems to be a really hot spot in Tennessee as well, down that eastern edge.
Yeah. That's great though, man. That you guys are doing good expeditions and you guys ain't in it for the money.
Right. Yeah. I mean, we'll take anybody out wants to go out and hang out with us and see if we can find anything or see anything.
Tracy.
We won't charge a dime. We just like going out and have a good time and see if we can find this thing.
You can get Tracy to go on your next expedition with you. I know he would love to see Bigfoot up close.
I tell you what, get a hold of us when you're done and bring us some evidence. That works for me.
Man, I'll do my best.
No,
I'll have to do
really,
my best.
we love seeing evidence for sure.
Yeah,
and,
absolutely.
Yeah, man. I believe Bigfoot's real. I believe he's a North American ape. That's just my opinion. I know other people have different beliefs. I know Tracy believes that also.
Yep.
Because the Bible, man, the Bible doesn't say it. The Bible will tell you clear. It's not going to hide anything. Like we had some guy on that said there was some guy part of some group that was talking about the Bible talks about Bigfoot. I do not know anywhere in the Bible that talks about Bigfoot.
Well, I mean, they talk about giants, but they don't say they're big hairy giants.
Right. And then they get into the Nephilim.
That's right. That's right.
Have you guys seen these Paraca skulls in Peru?
Is that no? I did see the one. I can't remember what they called it. Oh crap! I wish
The
I
crystal
could remember.
skull.
No, this is I can't think of the name, but anyway, the skull is huge. I mean, it looks like it weighs 25 or 30 pounds. I mean, just a massive.
Right. These Paraca skulls, they found caves full of these things, elongated heads. But the big difference is the size of them. The weight, I'll try to throw the right number out there. I'm not 100% on if this is correct, but I believe the weight was like 35 times bigger than a human, and the brain capacity was like 25 times bigger than a human.
Wow.
And the way the heads are elongated, there's no sign of binding or anything like that to alter the skull to do that. And even if you did, you wouldn't be able to make that kind of brain capacity up. It doesn't change the brain capacity. But they're covered. What's really odd, why I'm getting to this, is that they're actually, a lot of them are covered in red hair on the cone of the head.
Oh wow.
It's just really, really cool stuff. So it makes you wonder if they are, although as far as down in Peru at this point.
The one I was talking about, I just pulled it up real quick. It was called the Dragon Man skull.
Oh, okay. I haven't heard of that.
It was found. I'm trying to read through this really quick. International species discovered closely related modern in the Netherlands. Blah, blah. Anyway, it's they got a picture of it here, and it's beside a normal skull, and it's probably 5, 6, maybe 7 times larger than a normal human skull.
Oh wow.
And it's supposedly 146 million years ago, but I mean, it's huge.
It could have been a dinosaur, though.
Well, no, you can actually tell it's got a lot of human feature to it. But yeah, if you get a chance, look at it as the Dragon Man skull.
Definitely.
Yeah.
What do you have upcoming with In Dark Places, Tracy?
Dude, we're going to put one out hopefully next week. We'll let you know. We try to release them on Wednesdays. You can hear it on Spotify, YouTube, iTunes.
And where can they contact you at? In Dark Places at
indarkplacespod@hotmail.com.
There you go. That's a lot of words.
For those who didn't hear it.
In Dark Places Pod at hotmail.com. Okay. That's where you can get a contact with him if you see Bigfoot, UFOs.
If you have a story, one you want to tell, you don't have to tell us your name, just tell us your story.
Yeah. If you see mermaids, though, I probably wouldn't. Never mind.
We'll divert that to Cess Daily Podcast.
No,
email here shortly.
You can refer that to David Mills.
We can talk about some mermaids.
How do we get a hold of you, Dave?
How can people get a hold of you for the mermaid stories? It's not even real.
You find us on Facebook. We are Legend Hunters, is what we call ourselves, because we don't just deal in one thing. We look for a lot of different things, but Bigfoot and Dogman are a giant focus.
And
but
mermaids.
Yeah, apparently now mermaids. The Indiana River runs across through there somewhere.
There's actually rivers on the Ohio rivers of mermaids being seen.
I can look out my door and see the Ohio River. So
I believe they called them mud maids.
That's right. Those are called catfish where I'm from.
That's right.
I don't believe in mermaids, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Those are called shovel heads, is what we call them.
There you go.
Do you actually believe in mermaids, though?
Do I actually believe in mermaids?
Yeah.
I don't know. They came out with that film a few years ago. Supposed scientists that got blackballed from the scientific community supposedly had all this footage and rare bloops from whales and things that had some other bloop. They didn't know what it was, but I think that was actually proven to be a hoax or just an entertainment type deal. Yeah. There was one scene in that whole deal that really caught my attention, and I'm not sure how they faked it. Was when they were down, what they said, I think 4,000 feet deep in a sub, and one touches the window of the sub allegedly, and they got it on film. But that's part of that movie. It's probably Hollywood.
It's fake, yeah.
Right.
If you want to, like I said, if you want to report mermaids, email Tracy on Facebook and email indarkplacespod@hotmail.com, or you can text David Mills. Because
if I get emails,
most likely, if you text me about a mermaid sighting, I'm probably not going to respond.
I'm going to forward all of them to you, buddy.
I won't respond, so they're just going to get left on red, man. For sure.
Then you can do the puckwudgies.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, if you believe that gnomes are alive.
Little naked gnomes running around.
And
Yeah.
if you have a dog man sighting, please do not text me either. You can text them too, guys, because
Okay.
I don't know nothing about dog man, and yeah, I'm not even gonna get taught. I'm not gonna get on that subject because I'll be here. This will turn into Seth's Daily Podcast Weekly Rant with me and Tracy ranting about something. But yeah, man, definitely subscribe to our In Dark Places on YouTube, like their Facebook page, and follow them on Spotify. Like us on Facebook. That's Seth's Daily Podcast on Facebook, and subscribe to us on YouTube as well. I want to thank Tracy for co-hosting. I want to thank David Mills for being on. Y'all have a good night, and God bless.